you click on one of the circles, you can actually resize or crop the image without resizing the image. So in this case, you can move up the bottom margin without actually reshaping or resizing the video. Whereas if you grabbed on the corner, you're actually changing the size of the video. So that can be helpful for you to properly frame your scene. And then once you have something you like, you can actually put it there. You can stretch it out till it fills the screen, and then you can align it to get just that part of your backdrop and you on screen that you want to actually deliver to people. So in this case, maybe this is my final one. You can click the transition, which will send it over to this screen, and that is what people will actually see. So you can get that all squared away, and then you can click the start live stream, which is down here. You're going to go ahead and click start streaming, and once you do that, you can hop over to your live stream dashboard to see what the live stream is actually going to look like. I hope you found this video helpful. If you would like to continue to see videos that help simplify YouTube, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking that bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. That's all the time we have for today. My name is Dan Courier, and you're watching Creator Fundamentals. Thank you.
In this OBS Studio tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your live streams look awesome, and we're starting right now. What is going on? My name is Nick. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. You're going to love this. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's go to the computer. Okay, so now that we're at the computer, I'm going to show you how to take a boring looking scene like this and make it into something like this where you can have chat on it, to where you can do like video transitions and things like that. You can also do it to where you add tickers, to where you have like a little sidebar to where you're doing like a split screen, and you can transfer everything back and forth. Super easy, and it can be cool with the transitions as well. Of course, you wouldn't want to use transitions as heavy as I just did, but I'm just showing you the example of what it is that I'm going to be showing you. So the first thing that we need to do in order to get all of this stuff rolling is we need to go up to the scene selection or scene collection and select new, and that's going to blank everything out. As soon as I do this, it's going to remove my webcam. So I'm going to add that in as well and show you how to do that also. So for this, I'm just going to call this TB demo. And as you can see, it took away my webcam, so I'm going to go ahead and add that by adding it comes in like this. All you have to do to fix that is you just change the resolution down here to custom, and then you change it to the actual frame size that you're going to be going out at. In my case, it's 1920 by 1080, and then I hit OK, and I'm going to choose rename. And then for this one, I'm just going to change this to main plane, and then that tells me anytime I click on this, anytime I transition to this, no matter what, it's just going to be a plain thing that's happening, just me right here on the screen. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to build onto this. So I'm going to duplicate it here. I'm going to right click on main plane, and I'm going to hit duplicate, and then I'm going to do main with a ticker. And then what that gives me the ability to do is add additional sources over here. So I have one scene here that nothing else is going to be on, and then this one here is going to be all of the ticker graphics to make the actual ticker that goes along the bottom of the screen. So here I'm going to click plus, I'm going to go to image, I'm going to do ticker BG for ticker background. And when I do that, it's going to ask me where the file is. So here I'm going to click on ticker BG, hit OK. And then there you can see this graphic that is now showing up at the bottom of my screen. Now, how this is going to work is it's going to be this graphic, and then I'm going to have a layer of text. And then after that layer of text, then I'm going to have a covering graphic as well. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to add that covering graphic right now. So I'm going to do ticker top, and I'm going to grab this. Now, as you can see right here, when I pull this in, if you look at this little area right here, you can see it's transparent. Okay, so basically what's happening here is this is going to allow the text to show up, to appear behind this, and then disappear into this side as well, while keeping the TubeBuddy logo in there. So I'm going to hit OK. Now with this, just so you know what's going on, is all of this stuff that I'm showing you right now, I actually built this for TubeBuddy for the stream that I do there. So if you want to learn even more YouTube stuff, I'm going to put a link to the TubeBuddy channel, so you can definitely head over to them, because me and other YouTube experts are over there, sharing information to help you grow your channels as well. So the next thing that that we want to do is I'm going to actually click on the little lock icon for all three of these. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to have to move the text around once I get it in here. So if I have these locked, then I can click anywhere on the screen, move anything that I want, and nothing is going to be selected or moved. So it's just kind of like a fail-safe. Click on plus, and then I'm going to go to text. And then here, I'm just going to make sure that says text. And then here, I'm going to put in just anything for the sake of the demo. And then once I have what it is that I'm going to be saying in the text, you can see it right up here at the top. You can see it's kind of small, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into select font. And in this case, I'm actually going to find the font that I was using. This is a really cool thing about OBS. Then I can grab the text and I can bring it down. Now, as you can see, it's really small right now. So on a mobile device, this would be pretty much impossible to read. So I'm going to grab one of these corners and I'm just going to start moving it. And as you can see, that's going to scale that text up and make it a little bit bigger and a little bit easier to read. From there, I'm going to just bring it down the screen. And then because I have this selected, I can just tap on the arrow buttons to kind of fine tune it as far as getting it into the right place that I want it to be. And then as you can see over here in the sources section, this is at the very top and it's covering up the TubeBuddy logo and it's just not very flattering right now. So in order to fix that, what I have to do is I have to take the text and I have to bump it down a notch. And then now I've got that nice looking fade going in and out. So my text comes in, fades back out, the logo's still there, and everything still looks nice, neat, and clean. So what I'm going to do now is I need to make that text move. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to filters. Here I'm going to click on the plus sign and then I'm going to click on scroll. And then here, I want to show you this real quick. Let me move this over to here. So when I move this horizontal speed, you can see the text is going to start to move. Now, I can make it really fast to where, people are reading it really fast and all that, or I can slow it down, make it something a little bit more reasonable. In this case, I'm going to go with like a 31. That's fine. So it's still coming along. It's still moving along, but it's not so much that it's ridiculously distracting. So once I have that speed, I'm going to hit close. And then as you can see, the ticker is going to be flowing along there nicely during any time that I want that to show. So now we have two scenes. We have the main plane and then we have the main ticker, okay? So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to duplicate that main plane again, and I'm going to call this one cam with chat, okay? Now with this one, we're going to do that same exact thing where I'm going to go to the plus, and I'm going to add an image here, and this is going to be, I'm just going to call this one background because there's not a lot that's going to be happening in this scene. So I'm going to find that, and then I'm going to bring it in. Now, as you can see right here, the area that I have right here, it's already taken away. So I saved this image here out of Photoshop as a transparent PNG. Okay, so basically I removed the background layer so that I could save it so I'd be able to see through this. Now, another option that I would have had was to make the same graphic, but actually put a square on the screen in this area and then grab my picture or my video image there and scale it down and try to fine tune it to make sure that everything is in the right place and the right size. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to lock this background, so I'm not clicking on it. I'm going to click on the webcam, and then now you can see when I move this, because I have that area transparent, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can just move it in, kind of scoot it into place, and then fine tune it a little bit with my arrow keys. And then there we go. I don't have to spend a ton of time sitting there trying to make everything match up. And in addition to that, I also get a little bit of a drop shadow over here to kind of give it a little bit of an additional look, so to speak. Now, the next thing that we want to do is something that I get asked about a ton, and that is showing the chat on the screen, because we have to put it in this little area over here so that viewers can see the live chat for this particular scene when we show this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my live streaming page over, and I'm going to show you how to do this. When you go to your live streaming page on YouTube, you click here, and then you click on Pop Out Chat. When you do that, they're going to give you a URL up here at the top. You want to copy that, and then you can close it. And then after you close that, you can actually just move that right out of the way or close the window or whatever, and it's okay because you have that URL. That's all that you need. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to plus in my scenes, or in my sources, actually. I'm going to go down to plus. I'm going to choose browser source. Here I'm going to make this chat as the identifier. And then you can see here, there's already a URL here going to OBS project, but I'm going to override that with my YouTube chat, okay? That URL that I just got. Now, because I've already built this for, the thing that I'm doing with TubeBuddy, so I've already built this, I already know that the width of this is going to be way too big. So I'm going to take the width of this down to 520, and I'm going to take the height to, let's say, let's do 890, okay? From there, I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see the chat is now popping up on the screen. I just grab that and I bring it over here and get it into place. Okay, I could leave it like this, and it would be perfectly okay. I mean, if it just looks like this and you have the white on there, it's fine. But if you look at this from a design standpoint, I have all of these dark elements. I'm wanting people to focus on the TubeBuddy logo down there, which, by the way, if you don't have TubeBuddy installed yet, I've got a link to that in the description. But I want to draw people's attention to the TubeBuddy logo, and I want them looking at my screen. I want them looking at the chat as well, but I don't want them to be overwhelmed and distracted by what's going on in the chat. So what I have to do for that is I have to put in a CSS code, which I have in a notepad here, and I'll actually put this as a resource link down in the description below. But I have a some CSS code that I'm going to drop into this chat option right here. So I'm going to right click on chat, I'm going to hit properties, and I'm going to delete this in the CSS area right here, and then I'm going to paste in all of this code right here. And again, I'm going to have a resource link to this down in the description, so you'll be able to get this same exact code down in that description if you want this. And then I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see that it made my text bigger, and it also took away that background, so now it's not as distracting. It's still distracting, especially when it's all moving around, but it's not as distracting. So what we've done there is now we have this chat area so that people that are watching can see their chat come up on the screen, right? So I'm just going to click on something there, and then that fills that box out, and you can see right there, as you can see, you know, can you see this that I put down there? It completely fills that box out and makes everything look nice and clear. Now, to be picky, I would want to scoot this down here just a tad, because that's a little bit too tight up there at the top for me. So I would bring it down to something like that, maybe bring up the bottom a little bit, but you can fine tune yours when you're making your graphics for your live stream. So now we have 3 chats. Now we have 3 scenes, in here. We have the main plane, we have the main ticker, and then we also have this, which is our cam with chat. So we're starting to create, you know, a nice production here, right? Like, this is looking really professional. It's looking great. Everything is nice and organized, you know, real easy to follow what's going on. And a really awesome thing about this is down here in the sources part, you don't have just a humongous pile of stuff down there, right? You can just switch it as you need it instead of having a bunch of things that you have to sort through in order to make these same things happen. And you don't have to drag things around all the time and resize the frame and all of that. So this makes it so much easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the main plane again. And this one is going to be split screen over here, to where you can have like your social media information, or you can have like a product that you're talking about, or you can have bullet points of what it is that you're talking about while keeping yourself on the screen. This part is really cool. So what I'm going to do here is I created that split screen scene, and as you can see in the sources here, the only thing again that we're starting with is just the webcam by itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the image that I made. And then with this, you can see I'm kind of, you know, covered up there or whatever, but the graphic over here is where you would put, there we go, is where you would put the, you know, any additional information that you have. But what you would do in this case with the webcam is I'm going to lock that. And then with the webcam, I can just take this, drag it over, just like this. And then there we go, I'm nice and centered. So let's say that I'm talking here in the main plane, and then I want to say something about, you know, whatever it is that I'm talking about, then I would click on this, and you can set this up. You can set up a bunch of these, so you can just rotate through them as you're talking about things, or when you want to, you can go to the cam chat and things like that. So now that we have this in place, I want to level this whole thing up to really make it pro. I'm sure you've seen the news where, you know, they're talking about something and then they transition into something else, and then they have like a logo or some type of graphic that comes up on the screen to actually make that transition to happen and make it kind of smooth and pro looking. Well, that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do for that is I'm going to click on studio mode over here, and that's going to split the screen. So if you're not familiar with OBS right now, if you're not familiar with OBS yet, basically how this works is over on this side of the screen, the one that has the ticker on it right now, this side of the screen is basically a staging area. And then the other side of the screen where we have the split screen, that is actually what would be live that your viewers would be seeing right now. So if you're recording something in OBS, or if you're actually streaming in OBS, the one over on the right where the split screen is right now, that is your actual actual live area. That's what's actually being streamed or recorded. And over on your left, that is your staging area where you actually build everything and you get it ready to go over. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add that transition so that we can really make this look cool. So here I'm going to go over to the scene transitions, and I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to select Stinger. Now here I'm going to do icon transition. I'm going to hit OK. Then it's going to give me the option to go find it, and I'm going to go find it. It's called the TB icon transition. TB stands for tube buddy. And then for these other options, I'm going to leave these on the default, but if you are wanting to hear the transition, if you have audio in yours like I do with mine, and you're wanting to actually hear that transition, what you would do is you would just click on this, and then you would go down to monitor only with mute output. Okay, and then as you're playing it, if you're doing your stream, you have headphones in, and you want to be a part of the show in terms of listening to what's going on, then that gives you the ability to do it. So I'm going to hit OK. Now this is where this gets cool. I'm going to go up here to the quick transition. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to hit icon transition, and then now that icon transition's in there. So how this works, let's say that I want to transition from this split screen over here to the ticker version that's over here, then I can click on this icon transition, and then it does that for me while still keeping everything looking cool for the viewers. So basically, instead of making it a hard cut like this every time that I do the transition or a fade, then I can hit that icon transition and actually take it to a different segment. So that's really cool, where you can say, okay, well, I want to use this to transition me in between segments. You can set up different graphics that you change, for each thing in between each different segment that you're trying to produce. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this up another notch, and we're going to add another option here to slide. And I'm just going to call this one down. You can do up, down, left, or right. And then here I'm just going to make this down. And you can also add these to anything it is that I'm wanting it to take me into. But if you really want to do this in like a really cool way, what you can do is I'm going to go into my settings here. I'm going to show you something. Under the General tab, if I scroll down, you're going to see this option right here for studio mode, transition to scene when double clicked. Okay, I have that selected, and I'm going to show you why. The reason that's selected is because let's say that I do a down transition. Okay, if I double click these now, it's going to automatically just send it over, and it's going to send it over with that down transition. Same thing would happen if you wanted to do a fade. Right? You see how it just fades it all around? And the same thing happens if I want to do the icon transition. So let's say that I'm sitting here and I'm talking about something for a while, and then I want to take it back to the plane, then I can click on that, and then it'll take me back to the plane, and then I'm ready to go in terms of making everything look awesome. So the same thing applies. If I want to go to the split screen, then I click on that, and then it makes that really cool transition to really pro everything up quite a bit. Now, in addition to that, if you really want to make this stuff even cooler and make it easier for yourself, there's something called the Elgato Stream Deck. I'll put a link to it down in the description, and it's basically a live switcher. It's really low cost, and we actually use it in our studio that I do my Nimin live show on every Saturday, and I actually have one right here at home as well. And basically how that works is you can program the buttons, and you can assign anything it is that you want to happen. You can assign it to these buttons, and then you can just press the buttons without having to actually click anything inside of OBS itself. If you want to learn more about growing your channel, making videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by hitting the round subscribe icon so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, if you're looking to get into live streaming and you don't want to put out a lot of money, the easiest and least expensive thing to do is to grab your webcam and go download Open Broadcaster software. It's an open source project for live streaming. It's really cool. Let's go take a look. So if we go to obsproject.com and then click on download, you can choose playback signal. OBS is free. I've been using OBS for quite a while, and I was actually using it at our church until recently when we got a broadcast. And it's really easy to set up. Some of it's not as intuitive as other broadcasting software. Let me take a minute. I'm going to walk you through a basic setup of OBS and show you how we do it. Okay, let's take a look at it. Now, I've already opened it up, and here we are. This is the basic layout. This is first time you open it up. This is what it's going to look like. really sparse, looks confusing. Let's don't worry about that. First thing I want you to do is I want you to click on Studio Mode right down here. What that's going to do is give you a preview window right here and give you a program mode. Okay? General rule of thumb, anytime you're doing production, preview is going to be on the left-hand side, program is going to be on the right, which means you can build your scenes over here, get your camera set, do whatever, tell the people, hey, zoom in, etc. Over here, this is what the world is going to be seeing. And it doesn't happen until you use the cut or fade. Okay? Now, let's get a couple of things set up. First things first, I'm going to want to hook up my webcam. So I've got a webcam here. This is a Logitech C930. It's a basic Logitech webcam. It's actually a really good webcam. I've actually used it for some church services. So I recommend that if you don't have any cameras or anything, you may want to try with something like this. Costs $100. Really easy to get started. So I'm just going to plug it into my USB port. Okay, let's go see if we can add it. Everything is done in OBS using scenes. So every single camera angle, every single camera zoom, every single anything has to be built in a scene. So we have a basic scene here. Let's just rename this scene. I'm going to call it
Shot was blocked, but maybe Portugal can get a shot in here.
Assuming I'm going to hook up the second one later.
Good opening from
in here, in this scene for webcam 1, which is what we're seeing up here, which is black because there's nothing there. We can add sources. The sources
they've won 79%
are
of their competitive
the various types of media or cameras or what have you that you're going to put in there.
In 29.
Now, I'm going to go down and I'm going to choose video capture device.
Spain, the start of a new era under Fernando Hierro. They were unbeaten under Julian Lopetegui.
Okay. And then that's going to bring up a window.
What he's feeling now. The deposed national team coach who was unveiled as Real Madrid's new coach yesterday.
I can choose my FaceTime
Ronaldo
camera, which is right here on the screen. This one right here that you're looking at. That's the one that's right there on the top of my arrow. I can choose that if I want to. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm going to choose for Logitech. Okay. There it is. And we are looking at the back half of my studio. And I want to tell you what you're going to want to do. Just a quick tip right off the bat is to choose the resolution 1920 by 1080 if you have a camera that does that.
And straight away,
choose a frame
the Italian official pointed to the spot.
I'm going to choose 30. And there we go.
Ronaldo.
Now, input format, choose auto select. And color space, choose awesome. Very basic. That's all you need to do. Hit OK. And now I have my camera on here. Now, let's just go to settings. And let's choose a streaming service. Okay? So I'm going to choose Facebook Live. And the server is going to be default because it automatically knows how to get to Facebook Live. And this is where you're going to put your stream. Now, as far as the mechanics of doing a Facebook Live thing, I've actually got some proper training. This is just a quick down and dirty getting into it. I've actually got over on the members area, I've got a full setup about how to get started with Facebook Live with OBS. So you're going to want to click on that. I'll put a link below in here so that you can get over there. If we take a look at output, we've got simple mode and we've got advanced mode. Let's just keep it on simple mode. Video bitrate. That is going to be the bitrate that you're going to be sending up. Okay? Now, some services have their own bit rates that they will max out at. They will not let you send anything more than 2.5 megabits or 10 megabits or 20 megabits or 1 megabit, depending on the one. I generally leave this undone. The encoder is going to be H.264 or X.264.
On that far side.
Audio bit rate, that is, 128 is CD quality.
And 2 in the penalty area.
Encoder preset, higher equals less CPU. This is the quality with which it's going to encode. Okay, the higher
David Silva here
means less CPU, which means it's going to encode really quickly. The quality is going to be lower. You're going to play with this as you start noticing whether your CPU usage goes up when you start streaming or stays, medium. If it's like, I don't know, say 50% CPU usage, then you can try adjusting this setting, okay? If it is like pegging out at close to 100%, then you're going to want to adjust this setting so that it uses less CPU. Anyway, that's something for you to play with. Only you know, because your machine may or may not be able to handle as much of a load as mine is.
Goal scorer for Spain, skying that one.
Leave that here. Recording path. All right, one of the things I do is I record to an SD card. Basic rule of thumb for me is don't record on the hard drive that you are running the program from or that you're playing files from if you're like streaming videos and things like that on top of it. So I know that a SanDisk card, a 32 gig SanDisk card that does 95 megabytes a second of write speed, it's good enough for my DSLR.
Card of the night.
I know that it should be good enough to record on here on my laptop.
Referee was just waiting there to see what might happen.
Yes. Okay.
And as Moutinho challenged for it.
Okay, and then you'll notice down here we have same as stream for the recording quality. You can change that. It is going to depend on what your CPU can handle. Okay, high quality, medium file size. That's going to be pretty good. Indistinguishable quality. That means it's going to be, which means whatever the video bitrate to 1280 by 720. Why? Because like Facebook won't let you take in a 1080 type of resolution. Okay. For the internet, for the web, for watching on a computer, watching on a phone, watching on a tablet, generally 1280 by 720 is going to be just fine. It's going to allow you to send up really good quality audio and video, but not all the excess video resolution that is not really going to be taken advantage of on these smaller devices. So
this World Cup.
And if you're doing Facebook, like I said, 1280 by 720, 720p, that is the max that you can send. So, your frame rate is going to be 30, and your downscaling filter, I would leave this for now, just leave it at bicubic. Lansos, whatever it's called, is much higher quality, but bicubic is just fine, so let's just leave that alone, all right?
Silva.
Now, let's go ahead and close out of the settings. We're going to save it, and we're back to our screen, our preview screen here. Now, real quick, you want to see how to get this out to the program? Hit the fade button. Whoop, there it is. It's there. Let's get a second webcam. We'll do the one that's built into my top here.
By Iniesta.
FaceTime camera. I'm going to choose a source. Hit the plus sign. And I'm going to do video capture device. And I'm going to call it
Silva's little touch. Costa isn't going to get on the end of that one.
And hit OK. Have you, but you're going to
had a great deal of service. So
let's get a to do is I want you to click on studio mode right down here. What that's going to do is give you a preview window. Bring me up. Got some proper higher.
शर्ट उतरेगी या India Tour of England. First test starts 1st August live and exclusive on Sony. And Idea 4G. Unlimited recharges के साथ देखते जाओ बेझिझक. In association with McDonald's. Enjoy great tasting coffee from McCafe. 45 देश. 40 है तैयार. Asian Games 18 अगस्त से Sony 10-2, Sony ESPN और Sony 10-3 पर.
It's Lynch versus Carmen.
The all-new Hero Maestro Edge Style Hatke. In association with Axe Ticket, Ticket जो टिक टिक टिके. And Flipkart Fashion, India का fashion capital.
इंडिया का इंग्लैंड दौरा सोनी 6 और सोनी
PM only on Sony BBC Earth. Feel alive.
iPay ODI Series, powered by Minister, co-sponsor Marcel. Windies versus Bangladesh, second ODI, live and exclusive on Sony ESPN.
Brought to you by V-John, world's largest shaving cream, brings you V-John shaving foam.
Little touch forward from okay. Costa. Held up by Pepe. Isco. Content.
Maybe I don't want to show that there's stuff on that shelf there. So if you hold down the Alt key and you click on one of the circles, you can actually resize or
Let that ball roll for a Spanish throw. Long ball forward, looking for Diego Costa up against Pepe. Pepe gets the header and goes down. Play continues. It's Diego Costa. Can he get the shot away? Costa scores! And whilst Spain celebrate, Portugal are extremely upset about the manner of that goal.